Yo, what is up everyone? Bullitt Gaming here today, and today we're going to be flying Project Flight's biggest aircraft at Project Flight's smallest airport. Now, for this, we obviously can't spawn at the smallest airport, which is why we're going to be spawning at Punta Cana, and then we're going to be flying a very quick flight and short flight to Arroyo Barril. And we're going to be landing the biggest jetliners here in Project Flight at this tiny airport. So, the rules for this are pretty simple. All the aircraft have to have 2 or more gear to be, 2 or more, like, sets on one side, like this. So this has 3. So the 757 could also work too, because it has 2 on the side, like this. So, it has to have at least 2 gear on both sides of the rear wheels there. 2 gear sets. And when we land, it has to be at 135 knots, no slower. So, those will be the planes that we will be using today will be the A330, A350, 757, 787, 777, and McDonnell Douglas MD-11. So, first off, we're going to start here with one of the smaller planes, and that'll be the 757-200. So, we're going to select this plane, and, yeah, sure, we'll do the Pratt & Whitney here, and we'll go Delta Airlines here. So, I'm going to spawn here at, Punta Cana, and I'm going to do a quick flight here over to Arroyo Barril. So, Arroyo Barril is going to be, literally, like, right behind us. So, I'm not going to really do the normal startup procedures. I'm just going to start the engines. And, we're going to go. So, there we go. Engines are starting right now. I'm going to get this aircraft ready. And the plan is to see, you know, how many of these aircraft can actually land safely at there without going off the end of the runway. So, today I'm not going to be trying for butter landings. As some of you guys know, I do like butter compilations, shorts, you know, on my channel, which if you haven't go seen them, I'll have a link to one of them up there in the corner. But, yeah, I do shorts, of me doing butter landings, so we're not gonna be doing that today, because we can't quite do that if we're trying to land the biggest aircraft at the smallest airport. So, we're gonna see how many of these aircraft we can actually successfully land there without technically going off the runway. So, I'm gonna assume that the 757 will not go off the runway, and maybe a couple other planes, but I'm gonna assume that probably planes like the A350 or something might go off the end of the runway, as they need more room to stop, I'm assuming. So we're gonna get everything set for landing here. Oops, did not mean to do that. Alright, so we're gonna get everything set for landing, because it's literally just a short flight to one of the little, peninsulas over here at the end of the island. I went way over 135 knots. Okay, let's get you set to 135 knots there. There we go, okay. So, we're on this peninsula, well, yeah, we're on this peninsula over here, so that's where we're gonna be going. And, let's drop the gear here. Let's get our lights on here for landing. And we're gonna see how the 757 performs here. So, the gear is spinning pretty fast, actually. But we're gonna see how the 757 performs here. I wish they put the gear lock on the front thing back in, because that would be nice to have gear lock. Alright, so we are now at about 130 knots here, as we are getting ready to land here at Arroyo Barril. So Arroyo Barril is on this peninsula over here, and it is kind of hard to see, especially because it's kind of hidden by these trees. You can kind of see the white markings on the runway right there, but other than that, you can't really see anything. So it's a pretty hidden airport, and well, it's pretty much only known to the people who've actually spawned here, which I bet very few people have actually spawned here. Knowing that this is such a tiny airport, and not even the Fokker 100 or 717 can even fit there. And no one really uses any of the propeller or turboprops or anything, so I wouldn't be surprised if very few people have actually spawned here. Of course, I have spawned here looking for secrets, whatever, you know. I have never actually taken off here, though, so yeah. But we're gonna come over to here, and there's the runway, so we're gonna get autopilot turned off here, turned off here, and we're gonna try to keep this at 135 knots here, but if I can't get it to exactly, it'll be as close as I can get. So here we go. Oh, I don't want to touch down early. I touched down a bit early, but hey, I still got a butter. So, we're gonna give it maybe a little bit extra. We're gonna kind of guess about how much more room it would take, for the aircraft to stop. Because I did, of course, land a little bit early. So we've now touched down, and we are definitely gonna stop in time. We are definitely going to stop in time. So the aircraft came to a full stop right here. So let's get out, see where that would be. So we came to a full stop right there, which is a decent stop there. So now, we're gonna go try some bigger planes here. Alright, and we are back in here now. So the next aircraft we're going to be using is the Airbus A330 300 here. So, we're gonna go with, sure, let's go with KLM here. And, we're gonna, of course, do the same thing that we did before. Hopefully not land early like we did with the, 757, but we'll see. So, this plane might take a little bit longer to actually land. It's kind of like I think it's a competitor with the 757, but that doesn't mean it's exactly like the 757. So this one could potentially take a bit longer, especially because it's an older model to stop, once we touch down there at Arroyo Brazil. So we're gonna push back here, of course, and, once we are ready to go, we'll start our takeoff here. So, of course, 135 knots again. No slower, no faster. Well, I say no slower, but we couldn't even get to 135 last time. So we'll go about 135 knots, because we can't really get exactly 135 knots when you're, because the autopilot is just weird. It's funky like that, so we're gonna take off here, and this is the butter machine, but not too sure if we'll be getting a butter here today. We'll see about that as we get closer to Arroyo Brazil. So, the Arroyo Brazil Airport is, again, right over there at the peninsula, and shouldn't be too long of a flight to get there. So, we're gonna do that here real quick, and, yeah, once we get closer to the island, I'll let you guys know. Alright, so we are almost here at Arroyo Brazil again, so there's the runway, of course, no poppy lights, and no approach lights here. So, we have the autopilot set for 135 knots. We're not quite at 135 knots, though, so we're gonna have to just try our best to keep it at 135 knots, and, we'll do whatever we can. But, again, if it's at, like, 133 or something, that'll be fine. So, we're at 132 right now. I'd like to at least get to 133, but I don't know if we're gonna get to 133 here. It's being stubborn. There we go. Okay. 133 knots here. We're gonna see if we can keep it at 133. 134 will also be fine, just not 132, if at all possible. Okay, and then there we go, a 39 feet per minute butter, and we're gonna start braking here. So let's see how far we make it before we come to a complete stop. We're actually gonna make it maybe a little less further than we did with the 757, although that was because we did land the 757 a bit, early. But still, we landed a lot further back than the 757 did. So, the 757 probably ended up maybe about over here or something like that. And the A330 actually made it up over here, which is not bad actually. So maybe the older models are the better way to go, especially if you want to come land something here at Arroyo Barril. But now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, so our next aircraft will be the McDonnell Douglas MD-11 here. And we're gonna go, let's go with the KLM if I can find it there. There we go, we got the KLM livery there, just like we had in the video from the other day. And if you guys haven't seen that video again, I'll have it up there in the corner. But yeah, we're gonna spawn here again at Punta Cana, and we're gonna go head over to Arroyo Barril again. So this plane is a newer plane, so therefore this one might be a bit harder to stop. It also has 3 engines, but the 3 engines might actually help it to stop a bit sooner due to the fact that we have more reverse thrust here. So this plane could or could not be the plane that is the best to land at Arroyo Barril. So there we go, all engines are set, and we're gonna start a takeoff. I'm gonna hope that these poles up here do not have collisions, and if they do, then, yeah, it's gonna suck. But I'm just gonna hope they don't have collisions, and we're gonna go, hopefully, right through them. Please. Okay, the cargo container. Ah, yeah, they don't have collisions. Perfect. Okay, taking off here. And there we go. So we're gonna now get the autopilot set for 135 knots for when it is landing time here. And let me get the lights on here, because I didn't get the lights on there yet. Alright, so 135 knots is what we'll keep it at for later. And so yeah, this plane could actually be the plane that stops the closest to the end of the not the closest to the end of the runway, but the closest to where we landed. Because this plane does, yes, it is bigger than the other two, but it does have 3 engines, and therefore you have more reverse thrust. The more reverse thrust you have, in theory, should give you better stopping. So this plane could be one of the better planes for this airport here. So we are almost here now, so I'm going to get the throttle set for 135 knots here. We're going to get the flap set for landing here. And let's get the gear down now. So this plane also has a third or a fourth gear in the middle, as we can see there. So it does block the view of the front gear, which does make it a bit harder, especially when you're trying to land. But and it does block a lot more stuff than just the front gear. But we're gonna have to try to at least land here. It shouldn't be too terribly hard because we don't have approach lights or anything that's gonna be really in the way. We just need to land on the runway here. So we're a little above 135 actually, so I'm gonna hope that the autopilot will be able to adjust that there to about, there we go, okay. So I'm gonna take off the autopilot now. We're gonna manually adjust the throttle. I wanna see if we can get 133 knots here for landing, because that's what we've been doing for the past couple planes. Okay, let's keep it there. Nope, that's too low, too low. We'll go 33 maybe percent. Nope, that's not enough. 43. We might, there we go. Okay, 32 is what I'm gonna keep it at for now. We're gonna hope that it stays at 133. Nope, it's not staying at 133. Okay. I'm gonna try my best to keep it at 133, but I don't think it's gonna stay there. Alright. Oh, I'm landing a bit late here because I can't see. Oh, no. I'm trying to butter. There would, nope. Okay, I bounced a couple times. Okay. But that kind of tests the reverse thrust theory that I did not do because I forgot about the reverse thrust. Time to redo this. Alright, so we landed at about the correct speed here, but we are still barreling down the runway here. And we've definitely already made it past where we last stopped with the A330. And I think we've actually made it past where we stopped with the, yeah, we have made it past where we stopped with the 757. So maybe 3 reverse thrust isn't as good as we thought here because, yeah, the MD-11 did have the 3 reverse thrust there, but it didn't quite make a difference as we saw there. We still, we still had, a lot of runway used up there, and the MD-11, even with its 3 reverse thrusts, still didn't stop soon, which I thought it would. And of course, we still made it really close to the actual airport. We didn't quite go off the runway there, but did make it very close to going off the runway there. So, for sure, these bigger aircraft are going to be a bit harder to land here at Arroyo Barril, especially as we get into the 777 and the A350. Alright, and the next aircraft here is the Boeing 787/9. So, we're gonna go, let's go United here if I can find United. It should be at the bottom or something. Yeah, there's United. Okay. So we're gonna go United here, and, we're gonna see what kind of stopping distance this aircraft gets here. It is... Right. I originally forgot to actually record this clip. That's why I'm re-recording this. Or not re-recording this, but, adding this clip in, so that's why it's kind of like it might sound off compared to the rest of the video. I had to record this clip because I forgot to include the 787 here. Actually, that is wrong. I need to go to the options here, and there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna get this aircraft started here, and we'll head over to Arroyo Barril. Alright, and we are almost there now, so we're gonna see what kind of stopping distance the 787 gets. And this will also be included in the very end. I know for the rest of the video I won't specify the 787, but the 787 will be included in the end, so just know that. And the 787 is actually starting to stall, mostly because the autopilot's letting it. It's not giving it enough throttle. So, we're gonna try to get it up to 135 knots here, so we're not stalling. There we go, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna disable the autopilot. It's not doing it's not doing its job on this aircraft. So, we're gonna put it at about 43% throttle here. We're gonna get the gears down, and, we're gonna get the landing lights on here. And we're gonna try to keep it at about 133 knots here for landing. There we go, about 35% throttle is good enough. That's too much, actually, so we're gonna go with 33% throttle here. And there we go. Alright, so we are at 133 knots. We were actually a bit low, I think, so I'm gonna give it some more throttle, and I'm gonna see if we can get up a little bit here. We're gonna go 42% throttle here, and we're gonna come over to here. Alright, so that's a bit more throttle than we need, so we're gonna throttle it back a bit here. I'm gonna get the spoilers up so that we don't land too fast. Okay, the plane's starting to stall again. Okay, yeah, this plane is, a problem. Nope, no, 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 I'm not ready to land yet. I'm not ready to land yet. This plane is actually kind of hard to fly. Okay, there we go. Let's land. I know that wasn't really good. Okay, there we go. Brakes are on, we are set. I know I landed a bit off from the runway, but, we still landed in a decent spot there, so. And we are actually gonna stop pretty far forward here. Wow, okay. So, we stopped right here. So let's see where right here currently is. Alright, right here is about middle-ish of this line, which is next to the two other white line things. So, yeah. This plane, of course, being a newer aircraft, does take a bit longer to stop. But it still managed to stop with a decent amount of runway left. Not really decent for this plane's size, but a decent amount for the airport, at least. So, yeah, definitely, this plane can land here at this tiny airport. But yeah, now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, and then the next aircraft here is the A350-900 here. So, we're going to be doing this plane, let's go... Yeah, let's go Delta here. So this plane is a new. This was a new plane that was added in the Christmas of 2023 update. So it's a pretty new plane. So we're gonna see how well this one performs at Arroyo Barril. So because it's actually dark, I'm gonna go turn on I'm gonna go turn off this time cycle, and I'm gonna put it right there for now to make it better so that we can see when we're actually landing here. So this plane's gonna take a little bit to start up, but yeah, we're gonna see how well this plane performs, as it is, of course, a new plane, and as we saw with the MD-11, the new planes don't always do the best, and the 757. We saw that the new planes don't quite do the best, even the ones that have 3 engines, or that seem more modern than the other aircraft. So we're gonna be trying this modern A350-900 XWB. I'm pretty sure is what it is, and we're gonna go see what kind of landing we get there. So again, 135 knots, and we'll go land there. So let's take off here. There we go, and we've lifted off. So these gears are toted forward rather than backward, like most aircraft. The only other aircraft that really has this that's big and used all over in aviation would be the 757, or 767, sorry. And we do have a Tupolev, and I think I think an Antonov, maybe, that do also have the gear that's toted forward. I know for sure Tupolev, but I'm not too sure about an Antonov. But yeah, there are 3 really main aircraft that have the gear toted forward, which is pretty interesting because you never really see gear toted forward. So, oops. So yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. We're gonna see how we land here though, and see what kind of landing we get here, especially with these gears that are toted forward here. So again, we're almost there now, so we're gonna deploy the gear here. There we go. And now we're gonna be ready for landing. So we're getting the autopilot to get us at about 130 knots there. 35, sorry. And we're gonna get that stuff up so that not slowing us down while we're trying to stay at a certain speed. Alright. There we go. So we're actually a bit fast here at 136/7 knots. So we're going to disconnect the autopilot, see if we can get to 133 here. If I can't get the autopilot to give me 133, then I'll just have to disconnect it. Oh, we might get 133. The autopilot seems to be doing a good job of keeping us at 133 here. Okay, so this autopilot's actually a bit better, so what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna disconnect this autopilot till last second. We're gonna see what kind of landing we get here, so let's see. Right, we are lined up for the runway here, and we're going to... Alright, let's now try. Let's now disconnect it, so about 34% throttle here. We'll add about 37 here because now we're going to be level for landing here. We're definitely going to need that extra thrust. Okay, 37 is too much. We'll keep it at 34 here. 32. Alright, and we have touched down now. And we have full reverse and full brakes here. So we're going to see how far we make it before we actually come to a stop. We're doing decently well, actually, so far. So we might not quite make it as far as the MD-11. And there we go. We didn't make it as far as the MD-11. We actually made it less far than the MD-11 here. And that is, to be honest, not too surprising, knowing that this is pretty much the world's most advanced jetliner, if not the world's most advanced jetliner. So yeah, that is pretty nice. I'm not too terribly surprised that we didn't make it over to, like, the taxiway to the actual airport. So yeah, this plane would definitely be a good plane to fly at Arroyo Barril if you really, really wanted to. Now, let's move on to our last plane. Alright, and our last plane here is the Boeing 777-300ER. And we're gonna be going, let's go, yeah, American Airlines here. And we're gonna be, of course, doing the same thing that we've been doing the past couple planes here. So we're gonna spawn at Punta Cana here. Let's get gate 1 again, as that's a better gate, I would say. And start our push back and engines here. Alright, push back and then engines here. Alright. So this plane is the only in-game plane to have 3 gear sets on the back rather than the normal 2 gear sets on the back. So that's what kind of makes this plane a bit different. It is also like the second most advanced aircraft in Project Flight as of now. Behind the A350. So yeah, this plane is pretty much directly competing with the A350 at this point, and we'll see which one has the shorter stopping distance, and overall which one has the best stopping distance here. So far it seems like it's the A330 with the best stopping distance and the MD-11 with the worst. The 757 will come in third, and then the A350 would come in fourth. So yeah, that is not really quite in a good order, but what I'm saying is that the best plane would be the not 757, A330. Please don't have collisions. Oh, you do have collisions. Okay. Would be the A330, and then the next plane, the next best so far, would be the A350, followed by the 757, then the the MD-11. So there we go, we're gonna get everything set here for landing now. Flaps are coming down there, and there we go, they are set for landing, so now we're gonna get the plane ready fully for landing here. Here we go. Oh, and the plane is starting to stall there, as we can see. The nose is starting to pitch downwards, so... But we're still gonna have to do 135 knots. If the plane stalls onto the ground, that's okay, as long as we're not stalling, where we're falling like a rock to the ground right now. So, yeah. 135 knots should hopefully be good, but it may not be the best, so we'll see. Alright, and there we go. And the landing gear is now lowered. And we are ready for a landing. So, at the very end of the video, I'll have the planes which are the best and worst for landing ranked up on screen. So, we'll see which ones are the best and the worst after we land the 777-300ER. Alright, autopilot has now been disconnected, and we are about to land here. So let's see what kind of landing, or what kind of stopping distance we get here with the 777-200ER. So we are lined up now. We are at 132 knots. Never mind, 133. We're gonna see if we keep it there at 133. I'm gonna put 35% throttle, hope that works. Okay. Okay, there we go. 23 feet per minute butter, and there we go, the brakes are now on, and the plane is perfectly on the ground. So now we're gonna see what kind of stopping distance we get here. It's actually taking us kind of decently long to stop here. Ooh, we're about tied here with the 757. We are about tied here, actually. We are about tied, if not tied, with the 757 here. The MD-11 probably got about right here at this line somewhere, potentially the beginning of this line. The 757, though, got about where we are right here. So, we might have two planes that are in about the same spot here. So, I'm going to have the aircraft in number from best to worst stopping distance. Best being the A330 stopping somewhere over here, and then worst being the MD-11 stopping somewhere over here. I'll have those in order, and I'll have them up on screen at the very end here. But yeah, this isn't, as we could see, none of the aircraft are actually that bad at landing here. We actually had pretty decent aircraft here, so you can pretty much land every aircraft here at Arroyo Barril without actually going off the end of the runway, which is nice because we do have not very much distance left, but we still have some distance here. So you definitely can land the biggest planes here at Arroyo Barril. Now, whether you want to or whether you should, probably not, but you definitely can if you really do want to. So yeah, that is going to be all for today's video. If you guys did enjoy today's video, then please leave a like and subscribe, as it does help me out. And then don't forget to join my Discord down below so you know when I'm posting new videos like this one. With that, everyone, have a great day, and I will see you guys again next time after we show the best and worst aircraft. Alright, so what we have up on screen is the best aircraft, then the second best, the third best, the fourth best, and then the fifth best. The names of the best will be under them, and which one had the best stopping and the worst stopping distance will also be under them. Now, that is all. I will see you guys again next time. Goodbye.